Morning and welcome to the HR TailorMade series, Conversations with Consultants. I'm your host, Dr. Tiffany Slater, and I'm the CEO of HR TailorMade, the HR solution for small businesses. With these conversations, we hope to make it very clear that you don't have to wear all of the hats in your organization. There are tons of amazing experts and consultants that are available to assist you with growing your business and being more efficient so that you can do what you love, run your business, and spend time with your family. Today's guest is one of my faves. He is my brother, my friend, and we got our PhDs together and we have just stayed connected and tight. Dr. Brian Hampton is coming to the stage, and we're going to be talking about all things change management, right?
Yes,
For us as entrepreneurs and for us as leaders. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Tiffany. I'm so happy to speak with you on your platform. This is beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. And you were my inspiration. I remember talking to you like, Brian, how do you do it? How do you get on camera all the time? It's so natural. And here I
Yeah,
am every week, just
this is
having a
so cool.
ball.
I'm proud of you. I see it on LinkedIn. It's good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, so I know who you are. I know what you do, but tell the people who you
Yeah.
are and what you do.
Yes, my name is Brian Hampton. Right now, I classify myself as a father and a builder. So I have two boys, and they keep me very, very busy. So 6 and 13. And nowadays, I just call myself a builder. I build
Yeah.
within organizations and I build my own organizations essentially. So I'm the VP of Employee Experience at EXP Realty, which is an online real estate brokerage. And I'm also the owner for two small businesses. And
All right.
so, yeah, so I stay pretty busy. Again,
I
just
love it.
yeah,
Yeah, I love it. So you stay pretty busy. How do
yeah.
you manage it? How do you manage working a full-time job, your side hustles when you have time,
Mhm, mhm.
and being a dad? Because from what I recall, you're an awesome dad. How do you do
Yeah.
all of those things well?
Yeah, well, it's a little easier now that the boys are 6 and 13, right? So
Yeah.
they can make their own breakfast, which is a beautiful thing. But it kind of happened over time. And with the full-time job, it's things kind of naturally progressed.
Mhm.
I joined EXP Realty in April of 2021. And so during the interviews, they told me, they said, "Hey, we know that you have a PhD, but we're kind of interested in you because of your entrepreneurial ability, right?"
Mm.
And so this was the first role where having those side hustles and knowing how to take an idea and bring it to fruition, this was the first role officially where they wanted me for that particular skill,
Mm.
right? That builder skill.
Yeah.
And so I think it comes with the evolution of work, right? With
Yeah.
work being remote and things of that nature. And so that's kind of how it happened for me with
Mm.
the small businesses. They've been going for about a year or two, and so
Mhm.
I've gotten to the point where revenue is coming in. I can afford to hire employees and create the right processes that allow me to kind of manage from the top versus actually being involved on a day-to-day basis.
Yes. Yes. And that's so important. So there were so many cool things about what you said. The first one was, hey, I was an entrepreneur, but I stopped to take a job.
Mhm.
So many people are afraid to do that. Even though your businesses are still going, you don't have to be a part of it 24/7 to
Mhm.
be the owner. So
Yeah.
talk a little bit about one, what went into your decision making process to say, you know what? I'm cool now on the side hustle piece. Let me go get a full-time job. What was the decision making process for that?
Yeah, for me it was the company
Mhm.
itself, right? I believe in the vision. At the same time, you know, um, who I was interviewing with and everybody involved, they were very, very clear. They were like, "Hey, we want you to come in and we want you to build these things and help us go from here to here." And so I still feel confident in my ability to do so. And it was just it's Tiffany. To be honest with you, it doesn't feel like work,
That's
right?
awesome.
It doesn't feel like work, and so I was excited to say yes.
Yeah.
The conditions are in place for me to add value, and so I'm doing my best to add value, and I have a great team as well. And with the small businesses, um, I've come a long way from thinking about those businesses as side hustles, right?
Mhm.
Having two boys, I'm now looking at these as investments, right? Investments that I can exit, in the years to come, right? To take care of me and the family and kind of build
Mhm.
wealth and legacy and things of that nature. And so that's how I thought about it. And with that type of mindset, you got to think about, okay, how do I move from managing day in day out to kind of overseeing things, and then having the right mindset to think about, okay, what is the revenue going to look like annually, and then what's the 5 year trajectory, right? And then at what point within those 5 years can I actually step away and hire someone to take
Yeah,
the phone calls, take care of customers, interact with clients, things of that nature.
I love that. And so, what was your process from that helped you to prepare for this job? So, how did you prepare your businesses for your
Mhm.
exit to?
Yeah, yeah. It was honestly looking at I created a annual revenue model,
Mhm.
right? To understand at what point can the business run itself,
Mhm.
right? At what point? Because when you're starting a small business, you're doing everything, right? You're doing business development, you're billing clients and hiring people. But I had to understand, okay, at what point can I step away?
Mhm.
And fortunately, when the opportunity came along, I was right at the point where the business could take care of itself,
Okay.
right? There was enough revenue in there for me to hire a manager and things of that nature. And so it was perfect timing, Tiffany, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
If this opportunity was offered to me when, at a time where the businesses weren't ready, I might have had to close down one of the businesses.
Gotcha.
But it was just perfect. It was just honestly just perfect timing. But it really, I would say the enabler was around creating that 5 year revenue plan.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Hmm.
And so many of us just are so attached to our businesses because our businesses are our babies, right? So,
Hmm.
how do you break away and leave your baby with the complete total stranger all day?
Yeah. So okay, interesting. So I bought a used BMW last year, and one of my good friends, Steve says, Brian, do not become personally attached to that vehicle, right? He said, if you do, it's going to cost you thousands. So he
Yeah.
was like, okay, think of it as your BMW right now. Figure out when you're going to get rid of it, and think about your next
Mhm.
car, right? And so I kind of adopted that mindset around the business. Yes, it's your baby, but you're growing it for someone else to adopt it in the future, right? You're growing this business. It's an entity. It's an investment. Hopefully, you can exit and receive a large sum of money, right? And then you can move on to your next business idea. And
Mhm.
so, um, honestly, it was that type of mindset. You're building something. Some businesses, I think that for some people, they're personally attached to it,
Yeah.
right? And and it always stays that way. But for
Mhm.
myself, I still have a love for the business. I still have a love of taking care of the customers, because honestly, when you know this, like when you start a business, you're literally creating more responsibility, right?
Yes.
You're responsible for yourself. You're responsible for customers. You're responsible for employees, contractors, vendors, everybody who's right. They're trusting you, right?
Yes.
So you got to balance all these balls.
Yeah.
But but for me, it was around creating the right processes for me to make sure everyone is paid on time, contractors are taken care of, so that I could just kind of step away, right? But I'm
That's
not I'm not taking it personal,
yeah.
right? I'm just creating the right level of discipline so that
Yeah.
so that I can step away when I need to.
So many people need to hear this.
Oh, really?
So many people need to hear this because one of the things that I hear often is people struggling with the idea of and I shouldn't say people, mostly women,
Mhm.
struggling with the idea of bringing someone into their organization and trusting them
Mhm.
and trust. And I think the biggest mistake that people make is they think that when people come aboard, they're a part of their team, that they're supposed to feel the same way about their business as they do, and
Mhm.
that's not going to happen.
It's not gonna happen, and it's not gonna happen, and it requires engagement.
Yes,
It requires engagement, and um, it requires understanding, right?
yes.
So for I own a service-based business, and so which means a lot of the employees are hourly, right?
Mhm.
And so you have the morning phone calls, oh, I'm sick, I can't make it, this, that, and the third, right? And so what's required there is understanding, having a one-on-one, like what motivates you,
Mhm.
right? And for a lot of them, it's just financial incentives, right? And so I had to create financial incentives for showing the work on time, following safety procedures, things of that nature, right? And so
Yeah.
that helps mitigate that. Also having an employee handbook in place, right? Because as a business owner, when we're creating these businesses, one of the things that we overlook is structure, right?
Yeah.
Because we over index on customers and don't really think about what does the internal team need.
Yeah.
The internal team needs structure too. They need a handbook. They need to know that, when A happens, this is, kind of what, this is the result, right? You call in late twice, you're getting fired, right? They need to understand it. Those types of rules actually help retain good employees because good people
Yeah.
like structure,
Right,
right?
exactly.
And so,
And what we didn't mention, which is what I love, is Brian is a HR, expert as well, and his we got our PhDs in organization development, so we geek out about stuff like this, like,
yes,
literally all the time.
yes, yes.
So, you are speaking my language talking about employee handbooks and engagement and
Mhm.
really meeting people where they are, meeting people where they need and want to be met.
Yeah, 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 and it's not hard. You just gotta put yourself in their shoes. Now, here's the balance as a small business owner, right?
Mhm.
You gotta bring in the revenue in
Yeah,
order to give people financial incentives, in order to do these things. And so it's a constant circular balance between, how do you invest enough money in marketing so that you can bring enough customers, so that you can pay your people, right? And that's the ongoing challenge for us, small business
yeah,
owners.
yeah. And the other thing to remember too is that, it's not always about money because
Mhm,
I would say a majority of the people who are making, who are being paid on an hourly basis, they certainly can use the financial incentives more
mhm,
than others. But a lot of people are motivated, intrinsically or motivated just simply by you showing them appreciation or you highlighting their achievements or
mhm.
you asking them for their opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
Those things matter.
Yeah, yep,
So,
yep, yep, and it's important that you understand, what motivates, your team. You're
yes,
absolutely right.
yes.
Absolutely right.
Mhm. So let's talk about change management.
Mhm,
So small businesses had to do a whole lot of change management last year when all the businesses and organizations had to shut down due to COVID. But now that we're semi back to normal,
mhm.
when there are normal challenges that impact organizations, what type of change management strategies would you suggest just in general?
For small business owners?
Small business ownership.
Yeah, for small business owners, I would suggest, keeping your eye on whatever success outcomes you have, right?
Mhm,
So, some people have small businesses because they need that income to take care of their family or, put a kid through college. Some more aggressive entrepreneurs build
mhm,
businesses to sell them off, and within 5 to 7 years. So, whatever your success outcome looks like, um,
mhm.
I would recommend that you stay focused on that.
Yeah.
The pandemic was very impactful to us all,
Mhm.
but it's seasonal in nature, right? It's not. There are elements of it that's probably permanent, but a
Yeah.
lot of it related to your small business is very seasonal. right?
Mm.
So understand that it's a temporary problem, right? Look at your solutions and, fight your way through it. But you know what? We still have like the Delta variant, and I'm sure there'll be other variants coming along, right? But
Yeah.
um, as of today, the economy it hasn't really stopped like it did before,
Mhm.
right? So we're
Mhm.
seeing more people spend their discretionary income, on small businesses. And so things are
Yeah.
starting to ramp up. So, if a problem is permanent, deal with it as a permanent problem. If a problem is temporary, deal with it as a temporary problem. And don't
Yeah.
mix the two.
I love it. I love it. And then as it relates to change management with your team, how do you help your team through organizational change?
Yeah. Um, Really with my team, with the small businesses, it's a lot of storytelling. But not in a fake or fictitious way. It's helping them understand the impact of the services,
Mhm.
right? So with a service-based business, a lot of our customers are senior citizens. A lot of our customers are large families, and professionals like real estate agents, lawyers, dentists, things of that nature. And so every customer has a story behind them. They're using our service because it helps them do A, B, and C, right?
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about, hey, we gained 12 new customers this week, I don't just say, hey, we gained 12 new customers. Hey, we gained Catherine because her friend's husband had to go to the hospital and she's using our service because it allows them to do this. Or
Yes.
so and so's child is now enrolled in karate and they using our service because they need help, right? It's telling that story associated with every customer,
Yeah.
and that helps the team understand what we need to do,
Yeah.
right? So when you call off of work, or if we're not on time, or if we're not doing something properly, it's not about us. It's the mother who can't do this because of for their child, or the senior citizen who didn't get their clothes together before their hospital appointment, right? It's things of that nature that
Yeah.
helps my teams go, deal with and manage through change, right? We,
Yeah.
we take the focus off of us, we put it more so on the customer.
Yeah. So it's all about making the customer a real person,
Yes,
making them human. And
yes.
it's also about communicating. Just be honest with your team. Hey, if your business is struggling financially,
Mhm.
be honest with your team. Don't allow it to get to the point where they show up at work one day and you have a notice on the door where they can pick up their last check. I've seen that
Yeah,
happen several times.
yeah, yeah. And
So,
yeah, no, you are so right. I think as a small business owner, in my mind, would love to get your feedback on it. But I think the major challenge is making payroll, right? Every week, bi-weekly, every month, right? And the other challenge is retaining good employees.
yes.
Those are the two major challenges that I have. And so I spend a very significant amount of time making sure that payroll issues aren't really happening, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
right? So but you're right. If something's happening, then have an open and honest conversation with your team, because they have families,
Mhm.
whether it's salary or hourly pay,
Mhm.
they're working for a
Yeah.
reason. It's only fair.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And by the way, it's the law that you pay people.
Yes, 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 yes.
If they perform the work, you gotta pay them for the work that they did on
Mhm.
the day that you said you were gonna
You're
pay
gonna
them.
pay them. Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yes, so we're on the same page. Well, Brian, I always love having conversations with you. This was a great conversation.
Hmm.
I have to have you back so we can do it live
Yeah.
and we can take questions and just have a good time as we always do. Before we leave, how can people reach you if they want to talk with you, use your business's services?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm definitely open to connecting on LinkedIn. So shoot me a connection request on LinkedIn, and we'll go
Okay.
from there. Yeah, but
I
Tiffany,
love it.
this was great. I love your platform, and
Thank you.
I appreciate all the work that you're doing, because I know that you're helping a lot of small business owners.
I really appreciate you giving me your time, and I look forward to the next time that we are actually able to go live.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, thank you. So I really appreciated the conversation I had with Dr. Brian Hampton this morning, and I am hoping that you all take advantage of the opportunity to connect with him. He's just an amazing person, and he has so much knowledge. I mean, it's just crazy. So I appreciate having that conversation. I enjoy chatting with him, and I thank you for listening to us and watching us just geek out over HR and OD stuff. I am Dr. Tiffany Slater, the CEO of HR TailorMade, which is the HR solution for small businesses. Be sure to sign up for our newsletter on the website and let us know what you want us to talk about and who you want us to have conversations with. In the next episode, we'll be talking to one of my favorite people. She is Susan Conti, my very first real boss. And we'll be talking about all things leadership and leadership development. No small business owner can afford to miss this conversation. So join me right here. Until next time, be kind to yourself.